Okay, so this video is one of the last videos. We were almost to like the final prophecy of what I want to present. Um, but this is going to be about the door that opens up to prophecy, the event. Okay, so we went through history. Okay, and we talked about slavery, and we talked about how that was going to make a comeback, and we talked about a war, as part of the second seal being broken in Revelation 6, bringing peace or breaking or taking peace from the earth, right? So that is just one of the things that will happen in this neck of the woods. Okay, so and the whole point to all of this is to introduce you to prophecy, things that will come into play during this talk about prophecy, and also show you the people that opened the door and what event that was that opened the door to this final event, to these people, to the beast. Okay, so we had to establish who those people were and who they are today, and the things that they're doing, that they're trying to cause a war here so that they can tear down America, rebuild it, put the institution of African slavery back in place, and they will have their religion, which they are WASPs, they're white Anglo-Saxon Protestants. Okay, so um, they're the event that they caused, that they worked with the CIA on, and it might seem like conjecture or theory that I'm basing this on, um, but it's no secret that on 9/11, we had directed energy used. And then when Rumsfeld and I can't remember the general that was questioned, they were questioned about directed energy by a specific reporter. And then we also know that there's evidence that directed energy was used in the Middle East, in Iraq. Um, so, uh, and that there are things that they won't tell us that have been developed. Um, I mean, nobody. I mean, if something's not, if it's not declassified, so that it's there, doesn't mean it doesn't exist. Um, we also have proof from scientists like the Martin Fleischmann project. Um, uh, Sorry, I was trying to think of the scientist that is mainly on there, Bob Greenyer. Um, he talks about how easy it is to replicate cold fusion, okay, by using water and sound vibration, okay, and light. Just having a static field. I mean, there's lots of ways to do this. So this event, because it's so significant, I'm not here to talk to you about cold fusion or, or directed energy. It's just the fact that we know that our country is interested in this greatly, and there's lots of evidence. Just read Dr. Judy Wood's book, Where Have the Towers Gone? And that should tell you exactly, give you all the evidence you need to point you toward directed energy. So, because she says there is evidence of directed energy, and it's a book full of evidence, nothing but evidence. It's not a theory or, something that they made up. So the point is that she will tell you that she's not saying the government had anything to do with it, and she's not going to say that the government didn't have anything to do with it. But I'm going to say, since we have evidence that the CIA comes from the elite, and or a lot of people who are in the CIA come from the elite, they spend time with the elite, they are in their houses. I can imagine that they employed some of them for their money, and it was a black budget operation to do that, so that they could later use it for weaponry or whatever else they have in mind. It's not for me to say what they have in mind. That would be conjecture. But I can say that we have definite proof. I used to have a letter to the DOD, the Department of Defense, that was by people who wanted to sell them directed energy. Okay. And this was a 2003 letter to the DOD. And we know it in 2003, we invaded Iraq. And this is the major event that came from 9/11, right? That opens the door to prophecy. So here we are at that door, being open to this beast, because now we have to figure out, okay, well, who is the beast? And I always thought that was the first question that we should be asking. Okay, well, we don't know his name per se, but I can tell you the region of the world. I can tell you the peoples that he comes from, and I can tell you what country he's going to help recreate, and then he's going to come out of. Okay, so I can go through all of that evidence. Now, this is just a precursor to that next video of who is the beast. Right now, I'm just going to focus on Assyrians. Okay, why am I focusing on Assyrians? Because they are the ones, that's where the beast comes from, is that group of people. And they were greatly affected by the invasion of Iraq in 2003. Or is it 2004? I can't remember. I have to look it back up. But when Bush Jr. invaded Iraq, they were greatly affected. There was a man who is part of the Syriac. I'm going to have to look up my evidence and stuff like that, because this is good. Okay, so there's a man named Yonatan Khanna, okay? And there are interviews out there where he is actually bragging that he was the one who got the U.S. to come over there and do that. He passed on the information to them, to the U.S., that Iraq had, or Saddam Hussein had weapons of mass destruction. Okay, and he's a Syrian man. Okay, and everybody trusted him. They trusted him until he told all the Assyrians, "Don't worry, you don't have to go anywhere. The U.S. isn't going to bother you. It's not going to hurt you over here. You're going to be fine. Just stay where you are." And a lot of them were displaced by this action of invasion, and they were angry at him. There is great vitriol on many of the Syriac pages of the Syrians that are on Facebook, that are calling for a nation of Assyria to rise up again. And it fits perfectly with the beast that once was, now is not, but is to appear. Because Assyria, the Ottoman Empire, did exist. They once were. And they are now not a state anymore, but they are vying to be one. So when they do become one, they are to appear. So they will appear later. But that is what got it started, because they had taken years of abuse, not only from Muslims, but from the Iraqi government as well, over their involvement way back in World War II. Um, there was an agreement, and we're going to go through all of those things in the next video. I'm just kind of setting things up here. But they had there was an agreement between France, Great Britain, and Russia, I believe, hosted it. And they all were going to get a piece of that old Ottoman Empire. They were dividing it up, okay? And what they did is they ended up basically trying to genocide these Assyrians after they had forced them to fight with the Allies in the war. And they then they had this secret agreement that the Russians later revealed to them. So they started petitioning the UN to get the empire back, and they were constantly disregarded and told to be patient. I think they gave it to the British government, Great Britain, and there were pieces of Cyprus and different places that went to Great Britain, and so they were the ones that would be negotiating with the UN to give it to them, and they never got around to it, and they always ignored it and vetoed it and told them they couldn't come. And I think there was one meeting where they were very stubborn. Some of the leaders said, no, we're coming. And because they weren't a state, and it wasn't the UN at the time, it was the League of Nations when it was in California. So they didn't allow them to come to some of their summit meetings, even overseas, because they were not a state. But to even petition to be a state, it was hard for them to do this, and I think the last petition was with the UN. I'm not sure if they've had any since that last time, and they got fed up with it and decided, well, you know what, we'll do it ourselves. And they have gained a lot of ground since 2018. I think I looked, and they had done a lot of things and worked with a lot of other groups to help them. Some of those groups have fallen off. They're no longer associated with those groups. They've kind of gained some enemies over time. But yeah, so this is that door. 9/11 is the door because of the invasion. And they said, we've had enough. We are tired of being put in the hands of Muslims. And by the way, these are the Christians that we read about who are losing their heads over there to the Muslims. Because even though Assyrians started out worshiping all these other gods, they even had they even became Muslims at one time. And then they later renounced all of that and became Christians. And it is these 5 sects of Christianity. They're intercessed in the 5 sects of Christianity. So it is these 5 sections of Christianity in this group that have emerged to want to become strong and want a nation. And they use their language. And I'm going to go through stuff about their language, everything. So I'm going to prove to you that it's Assyrian, and the Assyrians are not Germans. They're, that is the most absurd thing, but they are not. There's no historical reference, no linguistic reference, no, there's nothing to prove that they actually went into Germany and became Germans. It's utterly absurd. And I'm going to show you why people say stuff like that. It's more of a political ploy to keep people from having a nation, okay, than it is actual truth. It's all based on myth. And so I'm going to go through those things. Yeah, this is an exciting review because what we will learn from this is what is not only going on in our world, but what's going to emerge and how we're going to see that. And if we look at the right events, we don't look at dates, we don't look at times, we look at the right events. Jeremiah, God told him, he said, look inside your vision and tell me what you see. And he says, I see an almond branch. And he says, you've seen well because I am watching for my time to bring about my work, to bring about my plan. So that means that God has a season. The almond branch is a clue. It is when something grows or something bears fruit and starts to bear blossom, okay? So that means that there's a time for it. So when that season happens, we see the words designated time, at a designated time, and then it gives you an event, okay? In the Bible, that's how it reads in prophecy. So God has a designated time. So when that designated time comes, you will see that event. And that event will show you that it is time, it is almost time for everything to come to a head, okay? And I am not an apocalyptic person. I do not say that the world is going to end, because there's 1,000 years after that before God changes this earth. So the world does not end. Life does not end, okay? It just, God removes the wicked for a time. And that is the adversary and Satan, okay? And then he totally destroys that wickedness. And he has a way of doing this, and he has a plan, and I'm going to show you what that plan is. I'm going to show you from the basics of it from beginning to end, okay? It's really not as complicated as people like to make it out to be. It's very, very straightforward. But you just have to put aside everything that you've been told. But these Assyrians, they're serious. They want to use their language to self-identify, because they really don't have anything else. They identify through their Christianity at this point, which started in about the 5th century of Christianity. So if you read the book of Jonah, you read how God brought them out of their idol worship. So, and they love that book. I don't know, there's all different types of Christianity, is true. But isn't it interesting to see that when you do read Daniel, and he says, oh, he blasphemes the God of gods, and he doesn't respect the gods his ancestors worshipped. And then he says he doesn't even respect the gods women worship. you know, because he thinks he's greater than them all. Okay. And so he's been through all these gods, every single last one of them. He created most of them. Okay. This group created most of them. They still go by Asher. And when you see Asher in the Bible, you know that is Assyria. Okay. God is talking about Assyria. So we're going to go through those scriptures one by one. We're going to talk about who the beast is and where he comes from. Okay. But I just wanted you to know that there was an event that opened this door. And it's not important. I mean, if you want to go look up the event and read about it and everything like that, that's fine. But it's really not important to the context of what I'm saying, because you know, what it opens the door to is more important. That's the whole point of mentioning it, really. But anyway, yeah. So that's basically it. And then after we talk about the beast, I'll let you know what's in the next video. The next video is probably gonna be who the whore is. And then the one after that, I can probably give you what's going to happen in the 1,000 years. And I can break it up into 3 videos maybe. Excuse me, I keep burping. I think I'm talking too much, or I don't know. I hear you laughing out there. Stop that. But anyway, I have lots to share. It's just not going to be in this video. I thought it was going to be in this video, but then I decided, you know what? I'm not prepared. So I need to get prepared. But I wanted to set the stage. So, Assyrian beast, 9/11, and the invasion of Iraq opened the door to this beast. Okay. They want to establish a country. And I want to tell you something. This nation that they want to establish, it's only one nation. It's got 10 kings at the beginning. And it ends up with 7 kings, and I guess this other one being the 8th. Okay. That's different than what I've said before, and that's different than what other people have said. I was repeating what other people had said, trying to incorporate it into God's prophecy, and it doesn't fit. And I will read you those scriptures as proof scriptures that this is one nation, only one. I'll give you one right now. In Daniel 7, he says these are 4 kingdoms. Well, wouldn't it be 14 kingdoms? Or 13 kingdoms? I think it's only one. So it's 4. God said it right. Anyway, I'll leave you with that little tidbit to chew on. I know you're curious. I'm curious how it's all going to come out too, because as much as I trip over my tongue and burp, I know, why'd she have to bring that up? I don't know. Because it happens. It's just the little things that have to irritate me, right? Anything to irritate me. But anyway, I will see you in the next video, and I hope all of you have had a happy Passover. I don't do Easter, so I'm not I'm not being secular here. I'm not being inclusive. I'm going to be a little exclusive. Passover and unleavened bread, because we just finished up unleavened bread. We're into the 7th-day Sabbath here. But I want you guys to have your pencils and your paper ready, because I'm going to give you some things. I'm going to write some stuff down for you. I'm going to have this board over here, and I'm going to give you an illustration on a couple of things. So what I need you to do, okay, what I need you to do is get your pencils, your paper, everything ready so you can take good notes, okay, because we have a lot to cover. The last time I timed this whole thing, it came out to be about between 3.5 to 4 hours. Now, I'm breaking it up into pieces so that you don't have to listen to 3.5, 4 hours. I might go through a little more of the history with Yonadim. I will read to you some things that I wrote. In fact, I feel like I gotta polish them up because they're not perfect. I sent them out. But yeah, I guess I have to resend them. Fix it. But yeah, so peace to all of you. I love you, and I hope you start thinking about this. Read through it. Don't think about how you want to form it unless something comes up into your heart. Okay, don't go by what someone else said. Not even me. I want you to study it, but I want you to see it. I know you can see it. I know you will see it. God told me I would see it. And I hope I do. I hope I see something. One thing of this prophecy to come to pass. Who knows? Anyway. Yeah. So, I will see you later.